Another hot female teacher caught having sex with a 17-year-old boy. While the police can't prove that 28-year-old Haley Way actually had sex with a 17-year-old boy, they are using incriminating text messages to bust her. I'm going to have a fictional character named James Grider explain this, again in an auditorium with a microphone where only his sister Carmela is forcibly listening to this. I am so tired of using this fiction shit. The cops are laughing at me. You just wait until I start bitching about all the injustices James and Carmela experienced in the novel about them. This fantasy excerpt of James Grider speaking is more fucking important than anything Nerder has to say about what fucking Vaj Dick Har is doing to Black Ops 3, but hardly anyone's going to watch. They're going to watch fucking Nerder instead.
Why in the fuck are you pieces of shit allowing police to use text messages as evidence to incriminate people? Why is it just because technology changed the way we communicate, suddenly it's supposed to be this great thing that helps make the jobs of police easier? In the year 1983, before text messaging was on the market, Haley Way and the student she's having sex with would have had to communicate by word of mouth in a dark corner, none of which would have been traceable by the police. Why can't we have a virtual electronic recreation of a dark private corner in cyberspace that police must pretend they cannot touch? Why isn't there a law that says if a text message is designated as private, the police have to pretend there is no way for them to read it? Even if it's physically possible for them to read it, why can't they be forced to pretend by law that it can't be read? Why should Haley Way tell her 17-year-old boyfriend, delete our convo from Instagram, please, and don't let anyone get a hold of your phone? Why the fuck should anyone have to delete a convo of their phone? Why? Because the technology stores a body of text? Fucking pigs feel entitled to use it as evidence, warrant or no warrant? They should be legally forbidden from doing that. Back in the year 1983, people could say whatever they wanted to each other, and because it wasn't recorded somewhere, people had the freedom to get away with it. Now, because we moved to an electronic medium of communication, these pigs feel entitled to rush in and take it. Looking at any electronic records should be illegal for the pigs. The only way this teacher should be busted is if a witness saw her type the texts into her phone and can testify in court, and if another witness saw the 17-year-old boyfriend type the texts into the phone and can testify to that. Taking someone's phone for a criminal investigation as evidence should be illegal. In this day and age, you could have friends and family members you can't communicate with except online or electronically. Closely held conversations you could have otherwise had in person alone cannot be done if a fucking cell phone or the internet are your only means of communicating. So why not set up a legal framework that will simulate the interpersonal physical environment online, but without the trouble of anonymizing proxy servers and all that IP address obfuscating shit? I'm talking about making it so a person that sends a text message or an email, speaking something they would have otherwise gotten away with saying to someone's face, is by law treated as if they had spoken out loud and the message cannot be retrieved or heard by anyone else. We have to make it so artificially. It doesn't matter if the text can be seen, unlike a spoken word. We need to artificially set up a system where the law pretends this evidence doesn't exist, even though it does. That's the only way we can be free and open up the same freedom to communicate in the virtual world electronically as we have in the real world. You could be arguing with somebody and need to intimidate them in some way that's not legal. What if you can't do it in person and can only do it online? In person you'd get away with it because there is no record of words you speak. So why can't the same construct carry over in a text message environment? Fucking pigs think that because something that gets stored on a hard drive somewhere, they have a right to look at it. I'm sick of the fact that because we're forced to live in a world where technology creates all sorts of records about you, that we should give up the anonymity of the year 1983. How about someone starts petitioning to have laws made where all these electronic records are disregarded and can't be used as evidence? Why not? Because some piece of shit pig chief is going to be sad? He'll be sad his officers can't bust people anymore? Can't bust a crime that shouldn't be a crime? Like a 28-year-old teacher having sex with a 17-year-old student? Because he can't use text messages as evidence anymore? Is the poor pig chief going to cry and wipe up little tears from the corner of his eye because his job is so difficult now? Fuck him. He should have burning napalm tossed at him, and while tiny flames are clinging all over his body, he'll be forced to unholster his sidearm, put it to the side of his head, and pull the fucking trigger to blow his brains out to spare himself another 15 seconds of burning alive. See, he is burning alive, but it's so slow and painful. The pig chief who likes to arrest people while using text messages as evidence has to take out his fucking firearm and blow his own brains out while burning alive, because it will take too long to die by the fire, about 15 seconds longer than by a bullet to the brain. So, just like that one soldier in the movie Fury.
Yeah, James Grider is right. It's unfeasible to live in a society where just because technology like cell phones and cameras create electronic trails of you against your will, you should just put up with allowing that stuff to be used as evidence against you. Technology is a genie that can't be put back in a penis-shaped bottle, but we can start making laws that using it as evidence is not allowed. There has to be the best of both worlds. You can have your smartphones and cameras, but those who need it will also have 1983 style anonymity. Enough of this arrogance from authorities that just because somebody texted something instead of meeting in person, suddenly it should give them a free window to use that stuff as evidence in court, warrant or not. Someone wants to make laws in their infinite arrogance, dictating who gets to have sex with who, and then they feel using text messages to enforce it is fair game. The only way to be free of bullshit like that is to make it illegal for cops to use electronic trails as evidence for solving a crime or convicting someone of a crime.